claims on the estate of a Brazilian hero and motor racing legend. Now on BBC Two. Friends, family and rivals remember Ayrton Senna.
Brazilian racing driver Ayrton Senna has been pronounced clinically dead after crashing during the San Marino Grand Prix.
The heyday for me in Formula One is the Senna, Prost, Mansell years. That's, you know, when there was real aggro and it was gladiators.
Formula One world champion Ayrton Senna was only 34 when he was killed on the racetrack in front of millions of viewers, but he was already a legend.
You know, you actually view certain people as bulletproof.
He was the most daring and the most ruthless driver Brazil, or the world, had ever seen.
It was as though he was a modern-day hero, in a modern version of a fairy tale where the hero had to fight dragons.
And his death changed the world of motor racing forever.
Frank Williams, charged with the manslaughter of the world champion racing driver Ayrton Senna.
And the battle for control of his £120 million estate would result in DNA tests and even the threat of exhumation. When Ayrton Senna's body was returned to Brazil for his funeral in 1994, the government declared 3 days of official mourning. More than 1 million people packed the streets in the most extraordinary outpouring of grief Brazil had ever seen.
Senna was not mortal for us. You could not imagine Senna dying. Senna was a hero. Heroes don't die. But Senna died.
There were extreme cases like a girl, a student from the 4th grade, who committed suicide in Curitiba. She killed herself saying the world without Ayrton Senna no longer interested her and that she'd gone to meet him. People's reactions were incredible. And Brazil became an orphan of Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna was the archetypal racing driver. He was rich, an international jet-setter, loved by the ladies. Worshipped as a god at home in Brazil, but considered a devil on the racetrack.
Fantástica nós tivemos.
It's possible to say that Ayrton Senna had a kind of split personality. On the one side you had Ayrton, who was sensitive, loving, sweet, poetic, romantic, wise and careful. On the other hand there was Senna, who was explosive. Senna was very nervous, very agitated, stressed, bad-tempered. He was often compromised and challenged. I think Ayrton suffered a lot in the hands of Senna.
There is a duplicity between Ayrton the man and Ayrton the hero. It's as if he was part of a myth, a legendary tale. Each race was portrayed as though he was a warrior who, instead of a horse, rode his car, confronting challenges, difficulties, great dangers and much more.
What are the emotions that you feel in a racing car?
The desire to go faster and faster all the time, the desire to be ahead, to be the fastest, and to be successful, and to win, of course, not only races but the championship.
Racing had been in Senna's blood ever since he was a small boy. He was given his first go-kart at the age of 4. He drove through the ranks of Formula Ford, then to Formula 3, and when he was 24, Formula 1.
Ayrton Senna was the son of a very rich man, so he didn't actually have to do any of this at all. But something inside him burned like an all-consuming fire that got bigger and bigger as the years went on. He wanted to be world champion in motor racing.
Senna challenging for that second place, and he's taken it.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic!
And Senna has won.
Senna
crosses the line before he gets there. Ayrton Senna wins.
The rewards for success in Formula One are greater than almost any other walk of life. Look at Michael Schumacher, who is allegedly paid about £50 million a year. Look at Bernie Ecclestone, who is allegedly worth about £2 or £3 billion. So the rewards for success are enormous, not just in monetary terms, but in adulation terms. The penalties for failure are even greater.
To say that Ayrton didn't care about death would be a lie. He very much wanted to live. We talked about it a lot, but this dispute between Ayrton and Senna, this dichotomy, was all too often very clear, especially when he spoke to me about the thing he feared the most, the possibility of death.
You can be gone, just in a fraction of a second. So you realize that you're nobody. Suddenly you're nobody, and your life can have an end. Sudden. This is part of your life, and you either face it in a professional, in a cool manner, or you just drop it, just leave it and don't do it anymore, really. And I happen to like too much what I do to just drop it. I can't drop it.
The San Marino Grand Prix in Italy in 1994 was the worst in recent memory. In this one weekend, there were 3 accidents in a row. On the Friday, fellow Brazilian Rubens Barrichello's car flew off the track.
When the accident with Barrichello happened, Senna was one of the first drivers to care about it. He left the track, and when he came to give an interview, he was in tears. No doubt this had a big impact, on his mind.
That was bad, but by no means unprecedented.
On the Saturday, a young Austrian driver called Roland Ratzenberger hit a wall at 200 miles an hour.
I remember seeing Ratzi coming by me very slowly. He was obviously going to try for a qualifying lap, and it was. I remember feeling a bit weird, and then he went down down a long straight, which has a bit of a curve in it. I can't remember what it's called now. And then the red flags went immediately, and I thought, geez, something's definitely happened. So I ran down, and as soon as I seen it, it was obvious there was no way anyone could, survive that.
The world of Formula One is saddened by the accident which claimed the life of Roland Ratzenberger. Attempting to qualify for only his second Grand Prix, the experienced Ratzenberger lost control at some 190 miles an hour.
And that was the first fatality in Formula One for a very, very long time. And again, Senna was very much involved because he insisted on going round the track and looking at the scene of Ratzenberger's death, because Senna always wanted to know everything about everything in Formula One.
On Sunday, May 1st, 1994, Senna was in pole position.
The background being that Imola was the third race of the year, and Schumacher had won both the previous ones. Senna had no World Championship points that year. So he would have been even more determined than usual to get his first victory of the year.
Later, watching the tape of those moments before the race, it was clear to me that it was as if there was a fight between the two sides of him, Ayrton and Senna. As if Ayrton said, "Senna, let's forget it. Let's go back to Brazil. Forget it. Everything's going wrong in this race. Rubens went out straight, he flew into the fence. Your friend died. Don't race, everything's weird. I have a bad feeling." But Senna would say, "I have to, especially today. It's Labour Day. I'm a professional. I have to do it.
I'll never forget that Ayrton Senna started the tradition of doing a lap holding a Brazilian flag. That day he had a very small flag in the left pocket of his overall, only it wasn't Brazilian, it was an Austrian flag. He wanted to pay tribute to Roland Ratzenberger if he won.
My immediate reaction was, wow, that's a big one. I very rapidly realised that because of the body language and the circumstances of the race which was stopped, that it was indeed considerably more than a big one.
This is a news that I never would like to announce. Ayrton Senna is dead.
Quando chegou a notícia de que we got the news that he was in hospital and that his heart had stopped beating. It was at this moment that I realised there was nothing more I could do, because till then I had thought there might be a chance and we would have to find a way of keeping him alive.
The atmosphere of unmitigated gloom and misery especially, at Imola on that day after the race was so profound that I just don't think I can find the words to describe it.
Even as they mourned, Senna's devastated family began to think about how to protect his £120 million fortune. They immediately took control of his estate, his lucrative merchandising businesses and image rights.
So as you can see, we try to keep everything here, catalogued and organised, so that people can come and visit and see everything that was part of his career. Here are the 3 medals from the World Championships, 1988, the second in 1990, and then the third in 1991.
As a 3-time world champion in one of the most highly paid sports in the world, Senna made £1 million a race. But even while he was racing, he set up business ventures to ensure the money would keep pouring in, even after he'd hung up his helmet.
He had a whole lot of businesses. People think of Senna just as a racing driver, but he was a gigantically astute man, and he knew that he was going to have a lot of his life after racing. And he was taking care to build up a business empire.
The Senna brand, characterised by the double S logo, is stamped on a wide range of goods. He'd even established his own children's TV cartoon character, Senninha.
Peraí, não acabei ainda não, Seninha. Vocês viram? Acabei arrumando com o Pedro, ele também vive correndo.
During his lifetime, the Senna brand pulled in around £50 million a year. He even created his own range of motorbikes and speedboats. Senna's passion for speed shone through, even in the boys' toys he marketed, as he cashed in on the racing fans' love of anything that moved fast. But although he was at the top of the most dangerous sport in the world, he didn't leave a will.
You know, even though Senna realized that he was doing risk business, he also had the feeling that he was immortal too. He wouldn't accept the idea that the machine would beat him, that some kind of failure would beat him. So he would never think about leaving, everything organized for after his death. And everybody was taken by surprise, including him.
In Brazil, there does not exist the culture of a last testament or the idea of being prepared for death, which no doubt will happen one day, but death isn't on the horizon. Perhaps it's the standard of living which is so different to that in Europe or America, where people's basic needs are met. In Brazil, every day you have to kill a lion. Every day is a struggle. so that's why death is hardly visible. And Ayrton, being a good Brazilian, had no intention of dying so young. It didn't even enter his mind.
With no will, Senna's 120 million estate, plus 50 million a year from the marketing and branding ventures, would automatically go to his parents, sister and brother, unless someone else should have a legitimate claim.
He had many girlfriends, but he explained that he had to be careful because he couldn't win. If he was seen with girlfriends, they would say he was showing off. If he was not seen with girlfriends, they asked why Ayrton Senna, a rich man, the world champion, why wasn't he seeing anyone?
Well, I think I will go to bed early. She will go with me.
I still think his great love, the person to whom he was most committed, was Adrienne Galisteu.
Adrienne Galisteu was Senna's last girlfriend. They'd been together for 13 months. But after his death, the Senna family closed ranks.
During the funeral, something happened which no one can forget, which is that there was one car for his family and his best friends, and Adrienne should have been in this car, but she was not allowed permission to ride in the car by the family. And this made everyone ask, why did they do that to her? What do they do that for?
Instead, the family gave the role of official girlfriend to one of Senna's former lovers, the Brazilian TV star Xuxa Meneghel.
Xuxa Meneghel was Brazil's equivalent of Kylie Minogue. She's one of the most famous women in Brazil, the sexiest, the most desirable, and one of the richest women in showbiz.
The family would have loved things to have worked out with Xuxa. For them, she was the ideal daughter-in-law. I don't know why. She wouldn't have been my mother's choice.
Xuxa was not only wealthy, but extremely successful in her own right. Adrienne, on the other hand, had been a struggling model from the wrong side of town when she first met Ayrton.
But I still think Adrienne Galisteu was the closest to being the mother of his children. Not because she was his last girlfriend, but because she remained always by his side.
Because Senna's family did not have a very good reaction towards her, there was controversy about the way Brazilians feel about her. There are many people who think she took advantage of Senna's death in order to be famous, in order to be rich. So, she's controversial, no doubt.
Whenever someone is in the public eye and becomes famous, especially in the Western culture, people value this too highly. And as a result of this, there are people who seek to make the most of this fame and this celebrity for their own good and prosperity, using that person as a type of ladder to project themselves.
Adrienne's association with Senna did prove profitable. 8 months after his death, she published a book and has since become one of Brazil's top TV presenters. But then a new threat to the Senna family emerged. Marcela Prado, another ex-girlfriend, made an explosive claim about a relationship with Senna.
Marcela Prado was a very beautiful and successful model who had an affair with Senna. This is something that happened.
At the time, the most shocking thing was when Marcela Prado announced that she was pregnant with his child.
She had a daughter, and she said that her daughter was Senna's daughter. And she wanted to do a DNA test with Senna.
Few Brazilians believed her claims. Marcela's response was to ask for the body to be exhumed. By now, Senna had been dead for 6 years.
She asked for the body to be dug up, and the Brazilian people were appalled because the tragedy of his death had been shocking enough. Everyone felt as if they'd lost a child, a son, a brother. This was clearly for her own gain. It was as if she was playing with him.
But they did the test with Senna's sister, and the test proved that her daughter is not Senna's daughter. But until we knew this, there was a lot of controversy.
If her child had been Ayrton's heir, this would have been big news at the time. People understood that if it really was his child, then she'd be inheriting a lot of money. She'd be one of the richest people in the world.
This is a characteristic which human beings have always had and always will have. And we need to understand that this is part of the dark side of man. We need to handle this side of us with care. We have always had to do that in all situations that have involved this trait, particularly as a family. We don't want Ayrton's image to be used for personal gain.
Ayrton's image still brings his family over £100 million a year. They're now worth at least £200 million. One of the ways the money's been spent is on a project Senna had begun during his lifetime.
He said he had this plan of doing something, using some of the resources he had with the licensing company he had, and to invest some part of these resources with Senninha character to social projects for children. He already knew he wanted to do this for children.
He asked me to think about how to realise this dream he had, and we talked about finalising the plan when he came back to Brazil. This never happened. We never had that second opportunity to talk things over. The accident happened 3 months later, so then I and my family decided to accomplish this project, and we created the AYRTON SENNA Foundation. This equals more or less around $30 million towards implementation of projects throughout Brazil, helping around 2.5 million children throughout the country.
An Italian judge has cleared the Formula One team manager Frank Williams of manslaughter.
9 years after his death, Senna continues to haunt the Williams team who built his car. In spite of 2 previous acquittals, next year Williams will again be charged with manslaughter by the Italian authorities who claim the car's steering column failed.
The prosecutor apparently has the right to have another go, and he's, I believe, having another go, which seems to me to be a shocking indictment of the Italian judicial system. Because whilst I can understand that if somebody is murdered or killed in a road accident, a court of inquiry and somebody being made responsible is in order, it seems to me ludicrous to apply the same thinking and the same thought to a sport where the possibility of death is ever present.
The relationship between our family and Williams is very good. I think it is totally unhelpful and pointless to look for someone to blame. It happened, and nothing can change that. It doesn't change our relationship with the people at Formula One, or Ayrton's.
After that horrific weekend in Italy in 1994, the San Marino circuit was modified and stricter safety regulations were brought in for Formula One cars and all racetracks.
Like anything in life, I think there's a terrible overreaction at times. We lost a lot of our great circuits. A lot of the circuits were changed, which didn't need to be changed. Some of the fantastic and most challenging corners in the world disappeared and were replaced by Mickey Mouse chicanes, second gear chicanes.
The heyday for me in Formula One is the Senna, Prost, Mansell years. That's, you know, when there was real aggro and it was gladiators. Now it's not, you know, it's too clean and it's getting cleaner and cleaner and the manufacturers want to clean it up totally, and that's when we turn the TV off.
I don't agree with some of the regulations, I've got to be honest, because it was so exciting to drive with Ayrton, Alan, Nelson Piquet and a load of others, and we all did crazy things to one another at times, but my goodness, it was exciting.
The laid-back image Senna cultivated belied a man who would stop at nothing to protect his position at the top of his sport.
Senna was completely obsessive about winning. Nothing else mattered. Second was the first of the losers as far as he was concerned. And he was never happy unless he was winning, and he did everything, and I mean everything, that he possibly could to ensure that he won.
I think focus is an excellent quality. Ayrton was a very focused person, focused on racing, focused on winning, and on realising his potential. It was one of the strongest characteristics about him.
But for other drivers, this ruthlessness meant get out of the way or face the consequences.
Damon Hill and Senna were battling away, and Senna had lapped Irvine. And protocol in Grand Prix racing demands that the big boys, especially when they lap you, have the track to themselves and you get out of the way. And Mr. Irvine wasn't like that.
Eddie Irvine was the new Johnny-come-lately upstart Irish driver with the Jordan team.
Mr. Irvine decided to go past the mighty Ayrton Senna and unlap him. And Mr. Senna did not like that at all.
Senna was in the team with Gerhard Berger at the time, and Gerhard wound people up whenever he could, so he'd given Ayrton a few drinks, and Senna did not normally drink.
Snaps.
But he'd had a couple of schnapps. And Gerhard said, "You're not going to let Irvine get away with that, are you?" And he wound Senna up, who marched off down to the Jordan pit.
He set off to find Eddie Irvine to explain the facts of life to him.
Latins aren't very good at holding their liquor.
And Eddie takes no prisoners whatsoever.
You know, you never challenge a racing driver, really, and you never challenge an Irishman even more, because we won't back down. And I didn't back down, I just kept being calm. And the thing is, I wouldn't show him that I was annoyed, which really annoyed him, because he was really annoyed. And he was trying to get me wound up, and I refused to get wound up, because I know that would wind him up more. So I just sat there, no, that's not correct. And he just lost it, and he swung at me, and I leaned back to get out of the way of the punch, and I fell off the table.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a problem with Ayrton at Spa when I was driving for Williams, when he pushed me off at almost 200 miles an hour.
Mansell spins off. It's a bad mistake by Ayrton Senna there.
And we had a coming together and a communication problem in the pits afterwards. So I know what those situations are like firsthand. I think Ayrton Senna was fantastic. I think he was tremendously well balanced, incredibly talented, ruthless, yes. Now, ruthless to the point that it upset a lot of people. But did that make him unprofessional? I don't think so. I think it just meant that, you know, he would go to any lengths to try and achieve success.
Ayrton Senna is a hero.
Senna was the best racer of the century.
Ayrton Senna is a national hero. Senna, for me, it was a legend. The way he did the things, his determination, it's amazing.
He's undoubtedly one of the greatest of all time. He's undoubtedly the most charismatic, mystical, unique personality in motor racing, in my experience.
Formula One with Senna was magic, fantasy, big show. Formula One without Senna is a good race, but only a race.
And Can't Take It With You returns in the new year.